For decades, humanity has spent billions looking up at the stars, searching for alien landscapes and hostile worlds. Yet, we often forget that the most unexplored alien frontier in the universe isn't light years away, it's right beneath our feet. Hidden under miles of crushing water lies a dark underworld of towering volcanic peaks, abyss plains, and superheated engines that literally power our planet. In fact, we have better maps of the surface of Mars and the Moon than we do of our own ocean floor. This is the story of Earth's deepest cosmic secret and how the abyss holds the key to finding life across the galaxy. For most people, the ocean is simply water, a place of waves, beaches, and endless horizons. But the oceans cover almost 3/4 of our planet, and beneath those waters lies a world few people have ever seen. In fact, most of the ocean floor remains unexplored. Hidden in the darkness are giant mountain ranges, enormous canyons, active volcanoes, and deep trenches that reach farther down than Mount Everest rises above sea level. And deep beneath it all lies the force that drives our planet. More than 3,000 miles below our feet is the Earth's inner core, a giant sphere of metal almost as large as the Moon and nearly as hot as the surface of the Sun. Although we can never visit this place, its heat powers many of the processes that shape the world around us. It moves continents, builds mountains, creates volcanoes, and even affects the oceans themselves. The ocean floor may seem calm and silent, but in reality, it's constantly changing. One of the most dramatic examples happened on March 11, 2011. On that day, a powerful earthquake struck beneath the sea off the coast of Japan. Moments later, enormous tsunami waves raced across the ocean. Entire towns were destroyed. Thousands of lives were lost. To many people, it appeared to be a sudden disaster.
So the news this morning is not very good, not good at all. But here is the latest. The Japanese Prime Minister Naoto Kan said today the disaster that had hit his country, and we're quoting him directly here, is the worst crisis for Japan since World War II.
But the forces behind it had been building for centuries beneath the ocean floor. The story begins with the Earth's crust. The outer surface of our planet is not one solid piece. Instead, it is broken into giant sections called tectonic plates. These plates are constantly moving. Usually, they move so slowly that we never notice. But over time, their movement changes the shape of the world. It creates new land, destroys old land, and reshapes entire oceans. If we could somehow drain away the water from the seas, we would discover that the continents are much larger than they appear. Stretching away from the coast is a vast underwater region called the Continental Shelf. Today, these shallow waters are some of the most valuable places on Earth. For millions of years, tiny sea creatures died and settled onto the seabed. Layer upon layer built up. Heat and pressure slowly transformed this material into oil and natural gas. Much of the world's energy supply comes from these underwater regions. Yet the continental shelf is only the beginning. Beyond it, the seafloor suddenly drops away. Huge underwater canyons cut into the landscape. Some are larger than anything found on land. Most people have heard of the Grand Canyon in Arizona. It is one of the greatest natural wonders on Earth. But hidden beneath the ocean are canyons even larger. One lies off the coast of California in Monterey Bay. Another, near Russia, is so enormous that it stretches for hundreds of miles across the seabed. These giant valleys remain almost completely invisible beneath the ocean's surface, and beyond them lies an even greater mystery: the abyssal plain. A vast underwater landscape that covers more than half our planet. For many years, scientists believed it was flat and empty. They were wrong. Cutting directly through the darkness of the Atlantic Ocean is the largest geological structure on Earth, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. This colossal underwater mountain chain stretches for more than 40,000 miles, long enough to wrap around our entire planet. At this boundary, something extraordinary is happening. The Earth's crust is literally tearing itself apart. As the plates separate, molten magma bleeds out from the mantle, cooling instantly in the icy water to manufacture brand new planetary crust. It's a level of continuous volcanic creation that puts the dead, rocky plains of Mars to shame. Molten rock rises from deep below. As it cools, it forms brand new ocean floor. Even today, the planet is still building itself. Every year, more seafloor is created, slowly pushing the older rock away from the ridge. This process has been shaping Earth for hundreds of millions of years. Most of the mid-Atlantic ridge is hidden beneath thousands of feet of water, but in one remarkable place, it rises above the surface: Iceland, a land of volcanoes, geysers, and steaming landscapes. Here we can see the power of the ocean floor at work. The island sits directly on top of the ridge. The Earth's crust is unusually thin. Heat from deep underground reaches close to the surface. Water seeps down into the rocks. It becomes superheated, and then explodes back into the air as a geyser. These spectacular eruptions are powered by the same forces that create the ocean floor itself. But some of the most remarkable features remain hidden deep underwater. Nearly 2 kilometers down, the seafloor mimics the surface of a volatile exoplanet. Here, towering mineral chimneys known as black smokers blast superheated toxic water into the ocean at temperatures exceeding 400 degrees Celsius. While this environment seems utterly hostile, it is actually thriving with life, like the scaly-foot snail, which grows armor made of literal iron. This discovery completely revolutionized astrobiology. For centuries, scientists believed life required sunlight to exist, but these deep-sea ecosystems run purely on chemical energy from the planet's core. Because of this, NASA scientists are using our ocean floor as a testing ground to prepare for missions to Jupiter's moon, Europa, and Saturn's moon, Enceladus. If life exists in the outer solar system, it likely looks exactly like the bizarre creatures thriving at the bottom of our own oceans. It lives beside these volcanic vents and does something truly remarkable. It builds armor from metal. The minerals released by the black smokers become part of its shell. No other known snail does this. It is one of many extraordinary animals that survive in this extreme environment. Every time scientists explore these deep volcanic regions, they discover new species. Proof that much of our planet still remains unknown. Yet the movement of the ocean floor affects us in ways we rarely think about. Far below the waves lie thousands of miles of internet cables. These cables carry almost all communication between continents. Emails, phone calls, financial transactions. Much of the modern world depends on them. But the seafloor is never truly still. Underwater landslides can suddenly break these cables. When that happens, entire regions can lose communication. Repair ships must travel into remote parts of the ocean to locate the damage, sometimes at depths greater than 2 miles. It's a reminder that even our digital world depends on the restless forces beneath the sea. And the ocean floor is home to something else: volcanoes. Lots of them. In fact, there are more active volcanoes beneath the ocean than on land. Some are enormous. One of the most impressive is Mauna Kea in Hawaii. Above sea level, it already appears massive, but most of the mountain is hidden underwater. Measured from its true base on the ocean floor, it is actually taller than Mount Everest. Yet even this giant is overshadowed by the deepest place on Earth: the Mariana Trench, a vast scar in the Pacific Ocean. At its deepest point, known as Challenger Deep, the ocean reaches almost 7 miles down. The pressure here is almost impossible to imagine. It is thousands of times greater than what we experience at the surface. Only a handful of people have ever visited this place. In 1960, 2 explorers descended into the trench aboard a special submersible called Trieste. For nearly 5 hours, they sank through darkness, eventually reaching the deepest known point on the planet. They later described it as visiting another world, a place more alien than anything on the surface. The Mariana Trench exists because one tectonic plate is being forced beneath another, a process known as subduction. And this process is one of the most important parts of Earth's Great Cycle. As old ocean floor sinks into the mantle, it begins to melt. Some of this molten rock rises again, eventually feeding volcanoes around the Pacific Ocean. This creates the famous Ring of Fire, a vast chain of volcanoes stretching around the Pacific. From Alaska to Japan, from Indonesia to South America. Many of the world's most active volcanoes are found here. These volcanoes can be destructive, but they also provide valuable minerals and chemicals that support life. One example can be found at Kawah Ijen in Indonesia. Here, sulfur-rich gases emerge from deep underground. The sulfur burns with an eerie blue flame. It's one of the most unusual sights on Earth, and it exists because ancient ocean floor is melting far below. When we step back and look at the bigger picture, a remarkable pattern emerges. New seafloor is created at the mid-ocean ridges. It slowly spreads across the planet. Eventually, it collides with continents and sinks back into the mantle. There, it melts and rises again, a continuous cycle of destruction and renewal, driven by heat from deep within the Earth. Without this cycle, our planet would be very different. The continents would not move, many mountains would never exist, volcanoes would disappear, important minerals would never reach the surface. Even life itself might not be possible. The ocean floor may seem distant and hidden, but it is one of the great engines of our world. A vast, unseen landscape constantly shaping the planet beneath us. And while we often think of the oceans as the boundary between continents, they are far more than that. They are part of a living system. A system powered by heat from the heart of the Earth. A machine that has been running for billions of years, and one that continues to shape our world today.